Hey everyone, my name's Gabby Kinney and I'm an intern with the North Carolina Coastal Federation.
And I'm Bonnie Mitchell, one of the Coastal Education Coordinators for the North Carolina Coastal Federation. We have a very special message that we'd like to share with you today. The Federation advocates for effective coastal management, such as opposing offshore oil and gas exploration along our coast.
The Federation advocates for effective coastal management decisions that protect and restore the coast. If allowed, offshore oil and gas exploration and drilling could ruin our coastal economy and environment. In order for us to understand the effects of offshore oil drilling, let's start with the basics.
Offshore oil and gas exploration and drilling is a technique used to extract oil and gas from beneath the ocean floor. Oil and gas are fossil fuels, substances made up of dead plant and animal matter that spend millions of years underground exposed to heat and pressure. Because of this long process, oil and gas are known as non-renewable energy, meaning that once they are used, they will not be replaced.
Oil and gas are only found in certain places under the ground, so locating it can be tricky. In the ocean, companies use special equipment to search the seafloor for oil and gas using seismic surveys. Sound waves are sent through the water to the ocean floor. As these waves hit the ground, the waves bounce back to the ocean surface, revealing what may be underneath. This process, called seismic blasting, is very loud and can be extremely harmful to marine life. From the tiniest of zooplankton to the largest of whales, seismic blasting has been found to affect much of life in the ocean. The airgun blasts are so loud that they can be heard as far as 2,500 miles away. These sound waves are particularly damaging to whales and dolphins that rely on echolocation, which is much like sonar, to navigate the waters. Offshore oil and gas drilling also impacts the economy of coastal communities. Many towns and counties rely on a clean and healthy coast to attract tourists with recreational opportunities and a natural landscape. So when seismic surveys or spills pollute the coast and hurt marine life, coastal communities suffer.
The extraction process is very risky for the environment. Accidents happen. That's when oil and gas leaking from drill sites, pipelines, ships, and storage tanks contaminate or pollute the ocean water. Animals become sick or even die. As we'll explore later on in our activity, oil and water don't mix. Since oil doesn't dissolve, it floats for a long time on the surface, gradually dispersing and then contaminating marshes, reefs, and sediments on the bottom of the ocean. Birds are especially vulnerable to oil spills because they spend so much time on the ocean surface.
You may have noticed that the North Carolina Coastal Federation's logo features a very important coastal creature, the brown pelican. Although they are the smallest species of pelican, they are a valued and charming resident of our coast.
You've probably seen them diving for fish in the ocean, using the wind as their guide as they work to capture bunches of fish in their beak pouch. These birds also represent a conservation success story. After habitat destruction and pesticides put them on the endangered species list, conservation efforts to restore their homes and restrict pesticide use helped bring their population numbers back, and they're better than ever. The Coastal Federation contributed to this effort by protecting nesting areas such as Beacon Island and Pamlico Sound, where a large population of brown pelicans raise their young. However, despite their population and habitat recovery, brown pelicans and many other coastal residents still face other challenges, and oil spills are one of them.
We've seen from oil spills elsewhere in the country that oil and water don't mix, and that it is virtually impossible to clean up large amounts of oil that have spilled overboard. Oil is bad for all the critters our shorebirds rely on for food, the habitat they call home, and the overall health of many coastal residents. Public opposition and outcry against offshore drilling has been an incredible driving force for keeping oil and gas exploration and production from occurring in North Carolina. For decades, many of our governors, federal and state lawmakers, and local governments and citizens have worked to keep this type of industry from spoiling our coast.
To demonstrate just how hard it is to remove spilled oil from our oceans, we're going to do a simple experiment with just a few common household materials. We started with a clean tray filled up with water to resemble our ocean. As we pour in our vegetable oil, you'll notice that the oil collects and bubbles on the surface of the water. We're going to try several different methods to remove the oil from the water. First, we'll begin trying to scoop out the oil with a spoon. This method represents a skimmer, which is a device that collects and removes oil from the surface of the water. The efficiency of skimmers is highly dependent upon conditions at sea. In moderately rough or choppy water, skimmers tend to recover more water than oil. As you can see, even after our best effort, there is still plenty of oil on the water's surface. Next, we'll experiment with the absorption method. Oil spill absorbents are pads and booms that can quickly be deployed for spill response. For small spills, absorbents may be used as the sole cleanup method, where for larger spills, they may be used to clean up residual oil that cannot be reached by skimmers. We started with a sponge, which, if you can see, only pushes away the oil. Next, we tried using some paper towels, which worked better than the sponge but absorbed a lot of water. Then we tried cotton balls, which definitely worked better out of the three, but as you can see, it still did not collect all of the oil and resulted in a lot of water collected as well. Our final method is using a dispersant, or in this case, dish soap. Dispersants are chemicals that are sprayed on a surface oil slick to break down the oil into smaller droplets that are more readily mixed with the water. Dispersants do not reduce the amount of oil entering the environment, but push the effects of the spill underwater. After we deployed our dish soap dispersant, we followed it with both the skimming method and dispersal method. Even after using all the various cleanup methods, we were still left with a lot of oil on the surface. Here's a comparison of the methods we used in this activity. We can see that the skimming method resulted in the least amount of water collected and only took a small amount of oil as well. Absorption collected the least amount of oil with quite a bit of water. The third method, combining skimming and absorption after releasing the dispersant, resulted in the most amount of both water and oil collected. Due to the dispersant, it's more difficult to accurately measure the oil as it does not collect at the surface like the others. What other methods can we try to remove the oil? Just for fun, we ran our first skimming sample through a filter and a strainer, which did appear to remove a good amount of oil, but still residual oil remained. Do you have anything around your home that you think would work well for separating oil from water? Test it out and let us know. We hope this activity showed you how difficult removing oil from water can be on such a small scale, and imagine how much more difficult it can be when this happens to our oceans. Check out the link below to find the full activity. We'd love to see what you come up with. Tag us on social media at NC Coastal Fed and use the hashtags Don'tDrillNC and Protect Our Coast. Offshore oil and gas drilling is a forever decision. Once drilling begins, the impacts are felt for a lifetime. To stay informed and aware of how this issue is being addressed, be sure to sign up for updates at nccoast.org/oil.
In the meantime, we need your help. Talk about offshore oil and gas exploration and drilling with your friends and family. Find out the facts, and then share them with your social networks. One way you can join the conversation is by engaging with social media campaigns devoted to protecting our coast. The activity in today's video and its accompanying hashtag #ProtectOurCoast is a great way to spark community engagement. The Federation is a member of the Don't Drill NC Coalition. Follow Don't Drill NC on Facebook or Instagram and use their hashtag Don'tDrillNC to stay up to date. For more involvement, look for the link in this video's description to connect to your elected officials. We encourage you to voice your opinion on offshore oil and gas exploration and drilling. By spreading awareness, our elected and appointed officials will make better decisions that protect our coast.